Hello! I'm Mac, at least for a day, and everything's going to be okay. In this video, I'll be reading comments from the video before it, titled, Will There Be Another Waking Titan? Now, the comments that I chose to read, like last time, are the comments that were on the video the day after the video went up, and also I'm not reading comments that did not have to do with the topic. So a few people commented some more speculation about what they want for No Man's Sky to have added, but they didn't talk about Waking Titan, so I'm just reading the comments that have to do with Waking Titan. So I apologize if I'm not reading your comment. First is THTDI Inc.'s comment, formerly Thunder Humping Turtle Duck Interloper. He says, I'm fine with it if it's short, like a month. Beyond that, no thanks. I don't know if Hello Games are cooking up another ARG now, as it's already quiet from Hello Games. I just hope it's an update and we get a surprise this week. Of course, he's talking about Waking Titan, and he just wants it to be short, like a month. I talked about that as well, that the first Waking Titan was about 2 months long, and I think that was a pretty good length, but more recently we had the second Waking Titan, which was 5 months, and I think a lot of people in these comments will agree that it was too long, and so does he. He doesn't want it longer than a month. He says he hopes that there'll be an update this week. I don't think an update's coming that soon. Who knows, though? We could get a Valentine's Day update, but I'm not saying we will. We really have no idea when the next update will be. But I definitely agree that if they make another ARG, it should be shorter. Lord Markov, a good friend of mine, a member of my Spacing Guild community, says, I agree the first ARG was the correct length. I was getting burned out after about 3 months. However, if you do a new ARG, if they do a new ARG for a large update, they will need to tie it more directly with the game and even have activities in real life blend over into the game or vice versa. This would also be a great way to introduce a villain. So he mentioned a couple issues that people have had, like the ARG seeming like it doesn't have anything to do with No Man's Sky. Actually, in both ARGs, we did have some things happen within the game, but not a lot. The first Waking Titan linked itself to No Man's Sky for the first time by having an in-game dead drop. People had to find a comm station in the game in order to get a password for one of the clues, and that was when people first began to realize that No Man's Sky was connected to Waking Titan. But that wasn't, I mean, hardly anyone was able to experience that connection with the game, that event within the game. Then, in the second Waking Titan, they did something a lot bigger. I even live streamed it. They had this event where I think we were given the first portal address, and we had to go to a planet, and the planet had been named by Hello Games or by the ARG people, and the name of the planet was a clue that we used to get the next portal address. And then you go to the next planet, and the next planet's name was the next clue, and so on. So you went to several planets to get clues for the next portal address. So it was an event that used the game to make an event, just like the other one where you used a comm station, but they weren't like something special programmed into the game. It was just Hello Games or Alliston Smith, the people who made Waking Titan, using the game to do something. They weren't actually changing the game's code to have something to do with it. Now, more recently, after Waking Titan and after the next update, we had community events, which were kind of like an ARG within the game, but we weren't really solving puzzles. We were mostly just collecting things or destroying things. So, not exactly an ARG, but it was kind of a temporary community event. So it would be nice if they were to blend the two things. If they had an ARG and Hello Games also introduced new code into the game that created an event related to the real-life Waking Titan ARG. So we had a community event in No Man's Sky going the same time as the ARG, and the two gave clues for each other or whatever. I think that would be cool. I think a lot of people would like something like that, to include the game much more directly with the ARG. And then the other thing Lord Markov mentioned was introducing a villain. So in the second Waking Titan, we had the Wear Tech company, and they were kind of an antagonist. It seemed like they were bad, or at the very least, the experiments they did were dangerous and they caused people to be harmed. Like, some people were killed and other people were trapped with the VR headsets and trapped inside the simulation. We had to rescue them. But it never really came out and said that Ware was definitely evil, like they did it on purpose. And they also never confirmed if Ware blew up the Atlas Corporation's building. There was a building in the Atlas Corporation that blew up, and one of the main characters of the ARG, Elizabeth Layton, was killed. Layton, people are going to tell me I pronounce it wrong again. Elizabeth Layton was killed, but it never did confirm if Ware actually did that, if they were the one that destroyed it. And we never defeated Ware. Like, we helped the Dreamers be saved, but we didn't defeat Ware. So either Ware wasn't evil, or they didn't keep doing bad things because we didn't stop them. So, but anyway, the second Waking Titan kind of had an antagonist, and that got people excited that there would actually be a real antagonist in No Man's Sky. Like, we have enemies like the Sentinel over there that we can fight, or predators on planets that we can fight, or pirates that occasionally attack us. But there's no, like, persona, there's no character that is an enemy, no villain in No Man's Sky with a name, just groups of baddies that we fight to give us something, give us an obstacle. They're just glorified obstacles like this carnivorous plant that just annoy us occasionally, but there's nothing evil or malevolent. However, lots and lots of lore in No Man's Sky have talked about malevolent forces. Misshapen monstrosities, Lovecraftian style things like from the abandoned building lore of horrible monstrosities that may have existed. Teeth in the Sky, the Abyss, which we got an update for, but the Abyss also did not really introduce a villain, and for a long time the lore for the Abyss was in the game, but there was actually no there was lore for the Abyss, and we didn't know what the Abyss was. People thought that the Abyss might be some kind of malevolent force. Then the Abyss update happened, and we thought we were finally going to get that villain. That the villain would be some kind of being within the Abyss. But the Abyss just ended up being, you know, an ocean update. But the thing I mentioned, the Teeth in the Sky, that is a new lore that the Abyss update added. But again, it's still just lore. We don't know what the Teeth in the Sky is. It's another mysterious, malevolent force that caused the people that crash landed on the ocean planet to go insane, but we still don't know what it is. We also have lore for Telemon, who might be the AI in our suit that might be sort of evil, but we don't know. So yeah, there's tons of lore about possible evil forces in the No Man's Sky universe, but we've never actually met up with any of them. We've never fought them. We've just fought these little baddies that are minor annoyances. So one big thing that people have always wanted in No Man's Sky is an actual villain, an actual malevolent force that we have a name for, that we actually meet up and fight to save the universe or whatever. Even Atlas Rises, one of the biggest storylines in the game, didn't really have an enemy. It had Null, which was kind of a not nice guy, but he was supposedly trying to harm us maybe, and he supposedly did bad things, but it's not like we fought him. It's not like we tried to stop him. He was just a character that we talked to that supposedly did bad things. So anyway, big thing that people want and have wanted for No Man's Sky is an actual enemy. So anyway, I rambled on about that way too long, but thank you, Lord Markov, for your nice comment. Next is Vobert Becking. He says, do I want another ARG? No. Would I take part in another ARG? Yes. Would it be of any benefit to Hello Games? That's hard to say without knowing the cost. Hope, Bob, and the Hamster are available. So I am of kind of the same sentiment. Like I said, I voted against the ARG when they asked us in the survey, but I would definitely participate if they did have another ARG. I would follow the whole thing and I would cover it in Waking Titan reports. I would definitely participate in it. I might not enjoy it unless the third ARG was really, really good, but I would participate in it. And I think a lot of people are of the same mind. They don't really want another ARG because really the ARG isn't what we want. We want the update. We want the update No Man's Sky, or we want details about it. The only reason we do Waking Titan is to get news about what's going to be in the update, which we do eventually get clues from them. But doing the puzzles are not what most No Man's Sky fans want to do. They just want the information about the game. So it's kind of an indirect third-party middleman. The ARG people are a middleman between us and Hello Games. What we really want is for Hello Games to just give us information about what will be in the next update. So yeah, most people don't really want an ARG, they just want the information that we might get from it. And I like that he said Hope, Bob, and the Hamster are available. Bob, some people called him Kylo Bob because he kind of looked like Kylo Ren from the Star Wars movies. And there was a hamster, both of which were in the first Waking Titan, and they both made guest star appearances in the second Waking Titan. Bob was at one of the live drops, and the hamster was on the live stream at the end. Again, we got to see how Ms. Noodles was doing. But thank you, Robert Becking, with that comment. I definitely agree. Daniel King says, I hope not. The last one was way too long. Got kind of boring in the end. So yeah, basically the same idea. People got bored because the ARG was too long. Tyler Thunder says, I can see them doing an ARG to lead to 2.0. Not just yet, Tyler. Not just yet. We'll get there. Eric Houchins says, I hope not. Just tell about when the update is going to be and be done with it. No more waiting Titan. So that's a derogatory nickname people gave to Waking Titan, was Waiting Titan, because it was basically just something to keep us occupied while we waited. And it also kept us waiting. Like, we had to wait a week to get more Waking Titan. So it was just waiting for the thing that was helping us wait for the thing we really wanted, which is the update. So again, people didn't like it. People didn't like Waking Titan very much because it was just something to keep us occupied, but not what we really wanted. Rasmus Peterson said, I was not into the Waking Titan thing, but if people liked it, then go for it. Smiley face. It's kind of cool and fits perfectly into the genre of the game. Now, I also have to agree with that. Honestly, even before we had Waking Titan, people treated No Man's Sky like an ARG. A big group that was like this was the NMS Portals subreddit. They were always looking into the game, trying to figure out how to open portals. Before we had working portals, there was data in the game for portals, and it was possible to find the inactive portal models on planets, and they were always trying to figure out if there was a way to activate the portals. And there's also lots of like little decals around the game that people tried to figure out, like if they were QR codes, and there were like scratch marks on monoliths that people were trying to figure out, ooh, is this a diagram of a star system? And there was the Gek hologram. In Gek star systems, you could go through the Atlas V2 or 3 past doors, and you'd find this hologram of a star system with two planets and 3 moons with a red star. So people were always trying to find star systems with a red star, 2 planets and 3 moons. I think that's what it was, and you can still see that hologram in the game. So people thought there was something special hidden in a star system like that, or you could activate portals at those star systems. So there are all these people looking for clues within the game, trying to find new stuff that we didn't have yet. And Sean Murray even commented on this in one of his interviews right before the next update came out. He said that people were looking at all these clues within the game, like, what is this thing? What is this secret? And really they were nothing. Sean Murray himself said that they were nothing. There was nothing hidden in the game like that. And as we know, portals were eventually activated in the Atlas Rises update. So there was no way to activate portals. We had to wait for them to add that into the game. So basically, like he said, it goes well with the game having an ARG because No Man's Sky players were already looking for secret clues to stuff, and that's what an ARG is. You look for clues and solve puzzles in order to progress the game. So the first Waking Titan really did fit in well with the community of No Man's Sky. That's why a lot of people did like the first Waking Titan. Because a lot of No Man's Sky players are people that like mysteries and like exploring and finding secrets. But they did drag it on too long, and the second one was way too long, so a lot of people were no longer happy with it. And then Richard's Gameplay said, the first one was awesome, but the last one was way too long and boring in the end. So yeah, same thing I just said. The second one was too long. Okay, last of all, this is the last comment I'm going to read. And it's from my good friend Kyle Culver. And Kyle Culver is the guy that made the videos explaining the first phase of the first Waking Titan, and he did a really good job. And I told him that he's the one responsible for helping me get into Waking Titan and making it understandable for me. You can still watch his videos about the first Waking Titan. I have a playlist on my channel called Waking Titan Videos. I should probably relabel it as like Waking Titan Season 1 videos or something. But if you go to Waking Titan Videos playlist, you can see all of Kyle Culver's videos. Or you can go to his channel and watch his playlist of all of his first Waking Titan videos. But he did a really good job of showing all the puzzles and helping make it all understandable. Basically archiving the whole history of the first Waking Titan. But he left a really long comment, and this is going to be slightly abridged, but I'm going to read most of his comments. So Kyle Culver said, "I feel like there is still a story to be told, and that is something that was lacking, which made a lot of people disinterested. The long, drawn-out puzzles leading to virtually nothing wasn't satisfying in the long run. Hello Games mentioned Waking Titan being a way to communicate with their fans. Now, after Season 2, they are a little more open. If there is another season, it would have to be a different kind of format. I'd love to see more lore story connected to the game. There are so many origin-type questions I have. Is Emily the first iteration of the Atlas? Or of the Traveler? Why simulations within simulations? These are classic sci-fi story tropes. It's about questioning life, humanity, and existence. Even so, if No Man's Sky's story could help lead the viewer, just a little further, I think we would have a complete story. The ARG is a great way to introduce the main antagonist, or a new race of beings like we saw in Season 1 right before Atlas Rises era. So much story, and yet more questions." So a few things that he mentioned in there that I really like. He said that Waking Titan was really important to introduce the story, and I talked about that in my last video, that we did get a lot of lore and backstory for No Man's Sky to help us understand that No Man's Sky may be a simulation intended to predict the future, that a computer may have been designed to simulate its own reality in order to predict what might happen in certain situations, like conflict scenarios it talks about in the Exotic Planet lore. And that's a really cool idea. And I even kind of thought that before Waking Titan came out. In fact, one of my first videos where I demonstrated how to build a Atlas station on your base, I talked about how No Man's Sky kind of seems like Deep Thought from the Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy series. It seems like Deep Thought was intended to find the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And it seems like that might be what the Atlas and the computer simulation of No Man's Sky is to create a simulation of a universe in order to find the ultimate answer to existence. If you can simulate a universe, you might be able to discover the purpose or the reason that the universe exists. I guess that's one way of thinking of it. And then Kyle said that the puzzles were too drawn out, and that kind of put people off from the game. Another thing he mentioned I want to touch on is Hello Games said that Waking Titan was a way to communicate with their fans. I had said in the last video that Waking Titan is supposed to be a advertisement, that it's a way to get more people to play the game. but that might not be true. Hello Games might just think of Waking Titan as fan service, that it was just a way to make the fans happy, keep us occupied before the next update. It may not have been intended to get more game sales, because from all that we know from Hello Games, it was just fan service. It was just something for the fans to enjoy, and that may very well be true. So when I said it didn't seem that Waking Titan was helping with No Man's Sky sales, that may not matter to Hello Games. But from all of these comments, it seems that a pretty large majority, I just have a small sample size here, but I think a majority of No Man's Sky fans do not want another ARG. And one of my intentions with these couple of videos was to try and figure out what the results of that survey was. And I think I can safely say that probably the majority of people voted against having another Waking Titan. So I think I'm going to say I don't think there's going to be another Waking Titan, because most of the people who commented said they wouldn't like one or they weren't interested in it. The first one was too long. So I'm thinking Hello Games has probably already made the decision not to have another Waking Titan. It's kind of sad, and Kyle Culver went over reasons that Waking Titan was good, and I have said a lot of stuff about it, but I think the time of Waking Titan may have ended. It is a shame because there are still a lot of questions, like Kyle said. Like Emily, we think might have been the Atlas, Emily in the ARG, but we may never know that if the story of the ARG doesn't continue. But the story of No Man's Sky is going to continue. I don't want people to feel down because I'm saying Waking Titan is probably not going to continue, which I could be wrong. Hello Games may still do it, but I'm going to say I'm predicting now that there won't be another Waking Titan. But the story of No Man's Sky has not ended. Hello Games and Sean Murray have promised that they are still working on big updates for No Man's Sky, and maybe that is how we'll get the answers to the questions about the No Man's Sky universe. Hopefully they will add more story or more lore that doesn't just give us more questions. Like I talked about, they talk about malevolent forces, but we don't actually have malevolent forces. Hopefully we'll actually get one, and we'll get more of the story of what the universe of No Man's Sky is. What is its purpose? And hopefully someday all of our questions will be answered, but maybe not. Maybe it'll be like Deep Thought from Atlas, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Maybe the answer will be 42, and we'll be still confused as to what that even means. Who knows? But for now, I think we've covered enough about Waking Titan. Probably won't have another ARG, but we will be having more updates to No Man's Sky. And I could be wrong. Maybe we'll have an ARG in a few months. But for now, I will be back this coming weekend with another topic video, with another question for us to ponder and discuss. But for now, I have been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day. And remember, everything is going to be okay.